the only thing that will be effective is actually working at scale, ramping the whole gamut of things people are doing up, and dealing with the chronic ecological issues, which are fragmentation, which are abusive fire regimes, and which are too many ferals across the landscape. And they're issues that can only be dealt with at a landscape scale, so that's what we're doing.
Gondwana Link, I think, is a fantastic program in the scale of its ambition. The notion of trying to connect and restore and repair biodiversity from the southwest forests through to the Great Western Woodlands is a very powerful idea.
I first heard about the Gondwana Link project 15 years ago at a conference, and thought it was just such a bold kind of goal, especially this whole idea of almost getting government out of the way and just working with private landholders and philanthropic sources of funds, and to try and create major connections in the landscape between national parks and existing bits of bush on private land.
Gondwana Link just means to me that there are enough people interested in conserving the connections between all the vegetation types, and which is really important for conserving the wildlife and the species endemic to the area. You think about what it used to be like, and it was a pretty magical place. The original inhabitants in this country, I was quite certain they would have been their Garden of Eden. And if we can achieve even a little bit of what it was like in the past, I think we've done well.
We're now standing overlooking the Rangers Link area to the east of me, where there's a very active program happening with the local groups, and to the west of me there's the Lindsay Link and the Forester to Stirling bit happening. And for me it's just so exciting to see the original concept grow and be happening in all those areas.
And I think just the visual nature of the projects, that it's this big swathe of connections across the landscape.
And I think there's tremendous opportunity for private landowners to work together with the big national parks and nature reserves, and really make a difference in terms of biodiversity conservation.
When you live in an area, you get to see it in all its moods, and they are many and varied. Every day is an adventure. Most of the work is being done with 4 of the local landholders.
Definitely farmers have a deep respect for the little plot of earth that they're on, and they do want to protect it, but we just need to be taught how.
We will go out of our way wherever possible to support the aspirations of the Noongar and Ngadju people. It's because it's their country. They have a culture that we need to learn a lot from, because ours hasn't worked well in this country.
Mountains and ranges are quite rare in southwestern Australia. Most of this land is a relatively subdued plateau, flanked on the west by the Darling Scarp, and then gradually rising as you head northeast into the deserts. The rocks you see immediately here at the Porongurup are 1.1 billion years old, a quarter of the age of the Earth itself. The Stirling Range rocks are 2.2 billion, so they're getting up to half the age of the Earth itself. Here, the Porongurups and the Stirling Range, each of different geology and fundamentally different stories, have lots of interesting plants, animals that take advantage of the microclimates offered by the mountains.
We have what we call islands of biodiversity, which are carry over from ancient times.
It's one of the richest areas on the planet in terms of plant diversity. So this is like rainforest in terms of the richness of species that you...
The fact that it's so diverse, so isolated from the rest of the world, you're discovering unknown things on a yearly basis.
To a biologist like me, this is the nearest place to heaven on earth.
Wherever you go, there's a need for conservation, because we're losing species all over the world.
We really need to devise a way of living sustainably, and I think the vision would be that in 100 years' time we've worked out those systems and applied them